Hey there, Patriots. This is True Outlaw Patriot bringing you some funny news from Clown World, and it's actually also disgusting at the same time. As everybody heard, I'm pretty sure Trump was indicted again. You know how that goes. You know, anything as much the Democrats are trying to throw as much shit to the wall, see what sticks. You know, it was all about, Russia collusion. He incited the January 6th riots. And it just, it goes on and on and on and on and on and on. What I find funny, though, is that everybody's got a bug up their ass now. But out of all people they could ask, well, they can't ask Adam Schiff because he's ousted, because he lied, of course, because, because of the whole Russia collusion thing, which I'll show you guys a little clip in a few, and you tell me who was in cahoots with Russia. But before we get to that, out of all the people they could ask about January 6th is probably the one person that, how can I say this politely, has enough shit in her backyard. Let's just put it that way. But, it's funny that CNN would interview her, since she's been so damn quiet since she stopped being the Speaker of the House. All of a sudden she's back out, and now she's got something to say. And everybody knows at this point that they're trying to get Trump on so many different things, but yet they fail to go after their own kind. But it's okay, because the proof against the Democrats and the left keep coming out. And they've been coming out for a while, but people like to ignore it. And this is why sometimes I get kind of upset with the Republican Party, because they don't push back hard enough. They don't push hard enough to say, you know what? You've come up with all the lies. We've got the receipts. We've got the videotape. We've got the audio tape. We've got the text messages. But nobody on the left gets arrested. But anyway, let's pay attention to, CNN. It should be called, actually, the Trump News Network. I heard somebody coined that the other day. But it should be called that, because without Trump, CNN doesn't exist. Let's just put it that way. But let's pay attention for a few minutes here, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Sound of the mob on January 6th chanting Nancy Pelosi, of course, was Speaker of the House on that day, and the target of the mob's rage as they ransacked her office, some brazenly calling to kill her. In a documentary from Pelosi's daughter Alexandra, we saw how the then Speaker, along with the other congressional leaders, gathered in a secure location, urgently calling military and law enforcement to try to end the violent siege.
Okay, they already started with a lie. It's already been proven that Trump had ordered for security a couple of days before, and Nancy Pelosi, being Speaker of the House, was in charge of that, and she did not call them in. They called in a bunch of feds. So all this is unraveling. People know this. And just a little tidbit for everybody to understand. If anybody noticed how the camera was following her, it's already been proven. And by, straight from the horse's mouth, Nancy Pelosi's daughter, she was in charge of videotaping all this. She went there with her camera crew, and her daughter actually was caught on a hidden camera, plain as day, laughing and bragging, not bragging, but more laughing, and actually admitting that January 6th was not an insurrection. Words out of her daughter's mouth that it was not an insurrection. And you can probably find that video on YouTube, I'm sure, if not YouTube, somewhere else. But just so people, if anybody's wondering why is she talking, there's a camera just focused on her, because it was always about her. She was the one in charge of this whole thing, as far as like making it seem like there was chaos and mayhem. But yet don't forget Ray Epps. He was out there in the crowd enticing people. Okay, FBI informant, so they say, or FBI plant, whatever you want to call it. And the January 6th committee just fell apart, and Nancy Pelosi was inside with her daughter videotaping. So all this was like a setup to make Trump look bad and make people on the right look bad. But I'm sure everybody knows that by now. That's why Trump's ratings just keep going up. And with this new indictment, he was at 51%, I believe, or 52% last week. And that went up after the second indictment, or the third indictment. This one's probably the third or the fourth, who knows. But we'll see how much his ratings go up after today. But let's keep going.
You've been told it could take days to clear the Capitol.
And joining us now for her first interview since Donald Trump was indicted for the events leading up to that day, Speaker Emerita, Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi of California. It's good to see you. First of all, how's Paul? How's your husband?
Thank you for asking. He's making progress. I said to him yesterday, I think millions of people around the world are praying for you.
It's funny she says that. She says she thinks millions of people around the world are praying for him. I think not, Nancy. I really don't think so. You've got to be so arrogant and pompous to say something like that, knowing that your husband had drugs in his system, DUI crash, a person got hurt, and got away with it scot-free. It's funny how she can sit there and say something like that. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that he shouldn't be forgiven or, prayed for. Obviously, everybody should be forgiven and prayed for. But it's just so funny that right after all that happened, she really pushed the issue with Trump, and then she lost the speakership, and then she just disappeared, and now all of a sudden, she's coming out to talk. I wonder why. It's like, you did your dirt, you retired, you were caught being heckled, having your little, 12 o'clock martini in some little cafe in California. Retire. Leave. Go. Nobody cares about you. Okay? And out of all people, you should not be talking about your husband, Paul, who broke so many laws in one night, got away with it. Not to mention, let's not talk about the whole fiasco at the house, caught in his underwear, literally. But we'll leave it at that, but let's keep going.
Therapy so that you can get well soon. But he's making great progress. Thank you for asking.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. So you have a singular experience of January 6th. As you read the indictment, what was your reaction and what jumped out to you?
It's heartbreaking for our country to have a president.
I love the theatrics, the way she takes that hard swallow is like, it's heartbreaking. Really? It's heartbreaking? Okay, we'll see, Nance.
Of the United States, with this list of charges against him. And I just want to commend the January 6th committee, the House committee, bipartisan committee, Benny Thompson and Liz Cheney in the...
It's funny how she says bipartisan. Liz Cheney's a rhino. So are the other two. Adam Kissinger, I think it was, that were there, or whatever his name is, and the one that cries a lot. And Liz Cheney, when she went up for re-election, they said she was probably one of the only people in Congress in modern times that lost by like 50%. 50% from the people in her own state who are Republican, and she is a Republican, but that should tell you something. They kicked off Jim Jordan and one of the other Congress people that was supposed to be on that committee. They kicked them off and they brought in two rhinos. They believe it was two rhinos, and the rest were all Democrats. And everybody's seen the January 6th committee. If you didn't see it, you was under a rock. No offense. But, for her to sit there and say that it was bipartisan, as if it was a good bipartisan, as if it was, 3 and 3 or 4 and 4. No, it was mostly Democrats and two rhino Republicans. That was it. Not to mention all the witnesses they could have brought in and questioned, and they didn't. All they did was bring in everybody from their side that they wanted to question. Everybody that had something against Trump, they wanted to question. I highly doubt that was a fucking bipartisan committee. That was a banana republic hearing. That's what it was. But let's continue.
All the members of the committee and the staff for the work that they did, they laid a foundation of facts, about facts and the law, and made a criminal referral to the Justice Department. That was the end of December. That was in December of the end of last year, 2022. We didn't know what we couldn't know. It wasn't our role to know what the Justice Department would do, if anything. So when it became clear that there would be criminal charges made, it's interesting.
Now let's hold on for a second. Why would she make that comment? We didn't know. We couldn't have known what they were going to do. Really? Why would you say that? Nobody asked the question, did you guys know what would happen after that? No, she just came out and said that. Or you're just saying that to cover your tracks now. I don't know. Think about it, people.
Interesting to see how similar they are to some of the charges recommended by the January 6th committee. And I commend again the committee. I'm so proud of them, their courage, their bravery, and the courage really of all of those who are making the case now. Of course, the former president is innocent until proven guilty. No one is above the law. And the assault that they are making on the rule of...
Wait a minute. She is so full of it. She said nobody's above the law. Your husband got off scot-free from a DUI accident where someone got hurt. They found drugs in his system. And you're saying that nobody's above the law for that to come out your mouth, Nancy? Do you see this, people? No one is above the law. Yet right now, Joe Biden and his son have just been busted big time for taking money from China, taking money from Ukraine. And it's funny how all that is coming about. And the two narratives that they're pushing right now is this Trump indictment. Of course, let's just keep going after Trump. And this whole alien fucking narrative that's going on. Is anybody paying attention? Let's keep going.
Of law in our country is really a sad thing. I'm sure it would bring tears to the eyes of our founders.
The current Speaker of the House, your successor, Republican Congressman Kevin McCarthy, he responded to the latest indictment by posting on the social media site formerly known as Twitter, quote, House Republicans will continue to uncover the truth about Biden Incorporated and the true two-tiered system of justice, unquote. He went on from there. What's your response to Speaker McCarthy trying to refocus this to Hunter Biden and President Biden?
What I would say is, and to remind the American people, that on the night when it was very clear to the Republican leadership in the House of Representatives and in the United States Senate that there was an incitement instigated by the President of the United States on the Capitol.
That was false. Everybody knows it. All the video clipping that they put together, that they edited together, was just bits and pieces of what he said. If you look at the whole speech that he said, he had nothing to do with that. He was actually telling people to be peaceful, to go home, but they just keep pushing the same narrative that he incited them. Yet, Christopher Wray, after being asked in front of Congress, were there FBI agents planted in the crowd and causing havoc? Who is Ray Epps? And he will not answer those questions. They've even asked a few more people. Who was out there? And the answer is, their answer is yes. but they cannot give any more information or say for sure. It's not, we don't know, we can't say for sure. No, it's either a simple yes or a no. And every time they're asked, they divert from the question. I can't answer that. It's still an ongoing investigation. This, and that. When people already know the truth. And this is the way CNN, people like Nancy Pelosi, Jake Tapper, I believe that's what his name. I don't know. I can't remember his name. They keep pushing the same narrative. They push it and push it and push it. And they keep saying the American people, no ma'am, I'm sorry. No. You people are pushing a narrative that the American people do not like. And that's why they're leaving your party in droves. But let's continue.
On the Congress, more importantly, on the Constitution of the United States. They saw the danger that we were in. They saw the lack of response from the president for not sending the National Guard, which we pleaded for him. And Chuck Schumer and I kept pleading with him also to call off his troops, but to send in the National Guard.
His troops, she says. Meanwhile, people have testified that Trump did, 2 or 3 days prior to that, order tens of thousands of National Guard. She was supposed to make the final call, and she did not. But I like the way she phrased that. He brought in his troops, but not the National Guard. What troops are you referring to? Are you referring to the peaceful protesters that were out there, his troops? Do you see the way these Democrats turn things around? Do you see the way they vilify half the country, yet they say, we're trying to bring unity? Do you see the underlying condescending tones of words that they use? Even after her own daughter was caught on a hot video, on a hot mic, saying that January 6th was not an insurrection. Because she was the one out there videotaping it. That means that she was called in to videotape all that. As a matter of fact, it was proven that there was somebody that they employed, there was some kind of Hollywood producer or movie maker or director, whatever, that he was called in because they needed to get everything together. So, in other words, to make it what they wanted. But yet, Kevin McCarthy released all the footage, all the documentation to Tucker Carlson, which got him fired, by the way, from Fox. That's why, to me, now Fox is very suspect in my book. Showing way different information than what the Democrats are saying. Matter of fact, information that destroys the Democrat narrative, but yet they still keep pushing it. Knowing that what they're saying is a damn lie. But let's continue. And one more thing. She talks about that nobody's above the law, the president this, and, our founding fathers are crying, because of what Trump did. I got something to show you soon. And you'll see.
They saw that. They saw the danger. They made statements about it that recognized the involvement of President Trump. And then so many of them, the majority of them in the House, voted to reject the peaceful transfer of government, accepting the numbers that the vote of the American people as demonstrated by the Electoral College vote. It was heartbreaking.
Yet, when Trump was elected president, everybody on the left exploded and started rioting. Remember that? They called it the Summer of Love with all the riots. Everybody remembers that. Everybody remembers with Antifa and Black Lives Matter, which there's still not so much Black Lives Matter now, but Antifa is still out there causing a muck, and the Democrats will still not call them a terrorist organization. It's funny. It's really some clown world shit.
Breaking that of all the tragedy of that night, and then to see them say, okay, we're not supporting a peaceful transfer of power in that country. That means more to me than any of this nonsense that he's engaged in now.
We've also seen a similar response from many of the Republican presidential hopefuls. I want you to take a listen to Florida Governor Ron DeSantis talking to...
Okay. she says that is nonsense what Trump is talking about now. Yet people have been testifying. Hunter Biden's business partner just went in front of Congress and spilled the beans, admitting that Joe Biden did have dealings with his son. The laptop from hell, supposedly they call it. You know, that's out there. You know, she's saying that Trump. You know, she has. You know, dealing. You know, she not dealing with the nonsense that he's. You know, putting out there. It's not nonsense, Nancy. It's actual proof. It's called the truth. You know, and she doesn't see it like that. And this is the way the Democrats are. You know, they must get up every morning, look in the mirror, and be like, today, I will not go down for my sins. Today, I will keep sinning and lying to the world. And I will do it with a happy face and be so glad doing it. Because in the end, we're gonna retain power. I truly believe that's how these Democrats look at themselves in the morning. I truly believe that. But the joke's on them. Because they know that they're being exposed. And they're trying everything in their power to divert from what's really going on. But now they're going to talk about DeSantis as if he has a chance. When everybody knows that, you know what, DeSantis really needs to stay in Florida. I agree with that 100%. And I think he'll have his time as president. But they're afraid of Trump. And I would not be surprised. And I may be wrong, but I would not be surprised if some Democrats, or a lot of Democrats, start supporting DeSantis. We'll see. But here we go.
One of the reasons I'm running for President Harris is to reconstitutionalize the federal government and these agencies that have become weaponized, the FBI, the DOJ, against political opponents. A D.C. jury would indict a ham sandwich and convict a ham sandwich if it was a Republican ham sandwich.
This is largely the response from Republicans in the House and Republican presidential candidates, with the exception of Chris Christie, Asa Hutchinson, and Will Hurd, attacking the Justice Department instead of talking about the allegations made in the indictment. Well, what's your response?
It's not my response. I'm not responding to them. I'm speaking, as I always have, with or without them. The rule of law is central to a democracy. The fact that the former president was always attacking the rule of law in our country, and now these guys are parroting that. Shame on them. Shame on them. But
she is a joke. Shame on them? Really? You know, we've been seeing the two-tier double standard. The two-tier justice system always favoring the Democrats. You know, and she's looking at DeSantis, what DeSantis is saying. They think that they're going to get a Republican in the White House. If it was Liz Cheney, of course, she played ball with them 100%. I mean, in my opinion, she's a traitor. You know, that's why she lost by 50% from people in her own state. You know, because they're fed up with the bullshit. You know, and you know, they think that it's just Trump on the Republican side that's fed up with it. But yet, it's a lot of people. A lot of people on the right, and people on the left now are opening up their eyes. People in between, they are tired of the justice system. They see how it favors Nancy Pelosi, Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, Barack Obama, you know, Hillary Clinton, and it goes on and on and on. And like right now, with the shit hitting the fan with the Bidens, they're pushing so hard. But yet Trump is out there, you know, ready to just, you know, do more campaign runs and, you know, more rallies and stuff like that. And just going about his business. But she keeps talking about no one's above the law, no one's this, no one's that. Now, she also mentioned about you know, justice. She keeps talking about justice. And they talked about, first it was the whole, you know, Russia collusion. Trump is in cahoots with the Russians. Trump is in cahoots with the Russians. Hillary was saying it. We lost it because there was Russian hackers working out of Ukraine. But now look at the scenario. Biden's doing business with Ukraine, sending Zelensky billions of dollars. They were doing business with the Ukrainians, okay, when Obama was president, okay, behind Trump's back when he was president. But yet all they can say is that Trump did this, Trump did that with Russia. But now here's the thing. Trump did whatever business deal he needed to do from one leader of a country with the other leader of a country. No wars, dealt with Russia, dealt with China, you know. Mind his business with Ukraine, said we'll do certain things, but, you know, we're not going to get in between that because, you know, things got to be taken care of the right way. You know, we need peace and we got to figure everything out. Biden becomes president, you know, and all this dirt comes out with China, Russia, Ukraine, and it goes on and on. But now I want to show you guys something that people might have forgot, because when it comes to like the mainstream media, they know they have a way of making people forget really, really quick. And I want you guys to see this clip from 2012. And then I'll leave it up to you people to find out, to see who was in cahoots with Russia. Because as of right now, they still have no proof that Trump was in cahoots with Russia to win the 2016 election. That was all Hillary's doing, screaming. Adam Schiff, you know, saying that he had, you know, witnesses because of the whole Steele dossier and all that. And now he's getting booted out. You only get booted out if you're caught out there, you know, in a lie. So he's getting booted out of Congress little by little, you know. But I want to show you guys this clip. And you guys tell me what you feel. Here we go.
Well, on the sidelines of that conference, US President Barack Obama appears to have been caught out by an open microphone. It captured Obama assuring the Russian President Dmitry Medvedev that he will have more flexibility to deal with missile defense after this year's US presidential election. Take a listen.
This is my last election. Yeah. After my election, I have more flexibility. Yeah. I understand. I transmit this information to Vladimir and understand.
Well, in case you didn't quite gather what the two were saying to each other, Obama basically was saying that he would have much more flexibility to deal with the missile defense scheme in Europe once the election is over. And Medvedev effectively said, I'll pass that message on to Vladimir Putin. Fascinating stuff, and apparently is creating a whole lot of Twitter traffic, especially in the United States. We'll keep an eye on that story for you.
Sound familiar? Who owned Twitter in 2012? And here's another thing that people don't understand. Obama won the election in 2012 by less votes than what he got the first time. Suspect. But that interview was in March. That hot mic moment was in March of 2012. He didn't get reelected to November. How in the hell did he know he was going to get reelected? And yet they talk about election fraud. So here's a man who got caught on a hot mic saying that he'll have more flexibility after he's reelected with Vladimir. After he's reelected, that he'll have more flexibility to deal with Vladimir Putin. And your man, that was the old president, that was going to go to Vladimir Putin and pass along that message months before Obama was reelected. How did they know that? Oh, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. Why would he say something like that if he didn't even know he was going to get reelected? Think about that, people. You know, you could brag all you want. Oh, my numbers are great. My numbers are this. But here's the thing. His numbers weren't good. Remember, because it's fact. Obama got less votes the second time around and still became president. Whereas Trump the second time around, got millions more votes, and Joe Biden became the president? I guess it was because, you know, Trump was in cahoots with Russia. Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe because it was Obama was in cahoots with Russia? And now Biden's in cahoots with Ukraine and China and Russia? Who knows? See, these are the things where people, their memory span is so damn shortened. And this is why the left keeps pushing this narrative, because they want people to forget. It took me a minute to find this clipping. As a matter of fact, I went on one site and clicked on it, and right on the site it said the video no longer exists. I had to get this from Al Jazeera News, even though it says YouTube, but it was on their site. See, the funny thing about technology, and this is where a lot of politicians get it wrong, that they think that when it comes to technology, that their words and their actions could be erased away. Once it's out there on the internet, in cyberspace, it's a wrap. So they're trying to come up with these little bits and pieces and try to put this big scheme together against Trump. That's why everything keeps falling apart. All these indictments, everything keeps falling the fuck apart. But yet the Democrats, all this dirt keeps coming up. All this dirt, video, audio, text messages, phone calls, everything keeps coming up. But they keep pushing, saying, no, that wasn't us, that wasn't me. You know the old saying, the person gets busted cheating on their spouse, wasn't me. But that's you on the video, wasn't me. It's really disgusting. It really is. But anyway, hope you guys like this video. Don't forget to comment, share, subscribe, thumbs up. You guys have been great. I've got so many views since yesterday, especially since I joined Rumble. Way more views on Rumble. So I'm just trying to keep it going. And remember, stay vigilant, keep praying, and keep praying for each other. Peace.